So what if you could stay calm, cool, and collected in basically any situation? Today, we're going to dig into a skill that's absolutely fundamental, mastering your own emotional responses. We're going to explore the psychology behind winning your inner game because, honestly, this is a skill that can totally transform your success in pretty much every part of your life. I mean, we've all been there, right? That moment of pure frustration or anger or even anxiety where we just say or do something we instantly regret. It's such a universal feeling, wishing you could just hit rewind for a few seconds and choose a totally different path. Well, what if I told you that you kinda can? Now, let's get one thing straight right away. This is not about becoming a robot or just stuffing your feelings down. Not at all. Real emotional control is about understanding your emotions and then choosing to respond wisely instead of just reacting. Seriously, mastering this is a genuine superpower. It gives you a huge edge in leadership, in negotiations, and even just in your day-to-day relationships.
Okay, so to get a handle on this skill, we first have to understand what's going on under the hood. Why do our emotions sometimes feel like they just have a mind of their own? Well, it all comes down to how our brains are wired.
The foundation for all of this is a concept you've probably heard of: emotional intelligence. This is the core skill we're trying to build. And really, it boils down to two key things. First, self-awareness, which is just knowing what you're feeling and why. And second, self-regulation, which is the power to choose how you're going to act on those feelings. Think about it like this. You've basically got two competing systems in your brain. When something happens, some kind of trigger, your amygdala, which is like this ancient fire alarm, just goes off instantly. It's all about immediate survival-based reaction. But the goal here is to create a little gap, just enough time for your prefrontal cortex, the rational command center, to get online and weigh the options. It's slower, sure, because it has to think, but its decisions are almost always way, way better.
So, how do we give our command center time to actually take over? This brings us to our very first, and you could argue most powerful strategy. It's so simple, but don't let that fool you. This is a total game changer.
This four-step process is everything. First, you just notice the feeling as it comes up. No judgment, just notice it. Then, and this is the most critical part, you pause. You just stop and take one single deep breath. That simple action physically calms your whole nervous system, and it stops what psychologists call an amygdala hijacked. It creates just enough space for your rational brain to step in, shifting you from an impulsive reaction to a conscious choice. All right, so once you've gotten the hang of the pause, you can move on to an even deeper level of control. This is all about actively shifting your mind from a purely emotional state to a more analytical one. So we're going to look at 3 key mental shifts you can make. First, digging into where that emotion is really coming from. Second, creating some daylight between what you feel and what you do. And third, prioritizing the solution over your own pride.
Let's start with that first one. When you feel a really strong emotion, you have to ask yourself, why am I really feeling this way? Is your anger truly about that one comment someone made, or is it because you feel disrespected on a deeper level? Is your anxiety about the presentation itself, or is it tapping into a deeper fear of failure? You see, getting to the root cause is the first step to actually managing it.
And this right here, this is such a critical insight. You can feel intense anger or frustration or disappointment, and that's totally fine, it's natural. But you have to remember that those feelings are just data. They're signals. They are not direct orders that you have to obey. Recognizing that difference, that you can feel something without immediately having to act on it, that's the core of emotional maturity.
And that leads us right to this point. So often, our impulsive reactions are just our ego trying to defend itself. You know, we want to prove we're right or protect our pride, but that almost never solves the actual problem. The most effective people, they ask, okay, what's the outcome I really want from this situation? And then they line up their actions with that goal, not with defending a bruised ego.
Now look, none of this is a one-and-done fix. Emotional control is a skill. It's just like a muscle. You can't expect to go to the gym once and lift a heavy weight, and you can't expect to stay calm under pressure without consistent practice. The important thing to remember is that this training, it happens in the calm moments, not just in the middle of the storm. These kinds of daily habits make all the difference. Mindfulness, for example, trains you to just watch your thoughts without getting swept away by them. Journaling helps you untangle all those complex feelings. And you know, good old-fashioned physical exercise is one of the best ways to burn off stress hormones like cortisol, which literally leaves you with a clearer head.
Okay, let's bring this all together. We started this whole thing by talking about winning every situation, but what does that actually mean? It's probably not what you think.
See, a true victory isn't about shouting the loudest or proving everyone else wrong. It's about self-mastery. It's about being able to walk away from a tough situation with your dignity intact, knowing you made clear, rational decisions, because you and not your fleeting emotions were in the driver's seat. And this quote, this really says it all. The ultimate power doesn't come from trying to manipulate the circumstances or the people around you. It comes from within. When you can control your own mind, your own reactions, you are without a doubt the most powerful person in the room.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Where are you going to practice this? Maybe it's in a stressful meeting at work. Maybe it's in a difficult conversation you need to have with a family member, or maybe it's just dealing with traffic on your way home. Where is your first opportunity to pause, to analyze, and to consciously choose your response?